Hey, what's going on everyone? Ryan again with rpkcustoms.com. I've got two sabers to show off today. I just got done building these two. They're both based off of the same saber, which is the Darth Vader DV6. So I built both of these at the same time. I had never done a DV6 before, and I had a kit from Wanawanga in my collection, and I had somebody reach out and want me to build them a DV6 for a commission. I figured since I was doing the commission for George that I would go ahead and build my kit that I had. That way I could do all of the test fitting and all of the drilling to make sure I was doing everything correctly, and then I would move on to the commission. So these are both pretty much exactly the same on the outside. As far as outside appearances are concerned, they are both using the Wanawanga kit, but this one is a little bit different. This is the kit that I bought for myself, and I decided that I wanted to do something a little bit different with this. So if you guys don't know what the kit looks like, it basically comes with a white, I think this is a nylon or Delrin core. And you see all the holes are pre-drilled and everything's pre-drilled for you. This comes with the kit. I did not use that with this saber. What I did instead was I decided that I wanted something a little bit heavier than just a nylon core. I wanted something that was solid. You guys know, if you've been following my channel, that I like a lot of weight with my sabers. So I decided to machine my own core out of a solid aluminum piece, and I actually, instead of using a Graflex bottom, just a standard Graflex bottom, I actually machined this entire piece. The core and the bottom are both solid aluminum, and I did that because I figured, because the DV6 has a plate on the back, which you can see, hopefully you can see right there. There is a brass plate on the bottom in between the D-ring and the bottom of the Graflex flash handle. I decided, since there was so much gunk and buildup in between the grips here, you can see there's a lot of weathering in between the grips, and we can see that on the actual prop in the reference photos. You can see it's all kind of chewed up right there under the clamp. There's holes drilled, random holes drilled in the grip section. And there is a plate that covers up the writing on the Graflex bottom, the Graflex stamping. So I decided, since there was a lot of things being covered and you couldn't really tell that this was a Graflex flash bottom, that it would lend itself really well to having just a solid aluminum core. You can't really tell that this is, from the outside, you can't really tell that this is a just solid piece of aluminum. Now, like I said, I did machine this to replicate a Graflex bottom, so you still have that that Graflex lip right there, that rolled edge that we can see on vintage Graflex and Graflex replicas. So because this is all one solid piece of aluminum, basically from right about here, all the way down, this is one solid piece of aluminum, and this thing is super heavy. It's probably 3 times heavier than this kit. And this is using just the standard Wanawanga kit. This is a TGS top and bottom. I believe it's a TGS top. I know the bottom is a TGS. But this is just using the basic Wanawanga kit. And I think this kit might be a little bit older, just because the D-ring here on the Cobalt was a little bit different shape. So let me see if I can line these up. So it's just a slightly bigger D-ring on this kit than on my kit. And the D-ring up above here is a little bit different. It's a little bit bigger. And this one has what I believe are the pre-cut eco grips. So these were pre-cut and shaped. When I bought my kit, I opted for just the longer length so that I could trim them and shape them myself. So you can see the grip here with the weird little angle cut. I have all of the little nicks out of the T-tracks, all of the nicks that I could see in the reference photos. And the bent grip. You see which one is it? This one right here. You can see the bent grip, and we can also see that in the reference photos as well. I added the putty filler to the clamp box. All the way around, following the reference photos as best I could. You can also see all of the nicks and dings. Hopefully you can see. I think my lighting is all that great. But I followed the reference photos the best I could and added all of the nicks and dings around the upper part of the Graflex shell. So the hardest part of these builds, what I found to be the hardest part, is lining up the holes correctly, or lining up the holes and drilling them correctly to line up with the pre-drilled holes in your nylon core. By machining one solid piece, that gives you a little bit of wiggle room. I still use the Wanawanga template for drilling the holes, but because you have the pre-drilled holes in the nylon core, it's very, very difficult to get those holes drilled exactly correct. Not impossible, it's just very, very hard. It's actually easier to have a blank core and drill the holes yourself. That way it gives you a little bit of wiggle room so that everything lines up correctly. And if it's off by just a tiny little bit, you're not going to be able to see it. It's not going to affect accuracy at all. It just gives you a little bit more wiggle room to be able to get everything lined up and done correctly. So it was actually harder to use the Wanawanga core for this build than just machining my own core. And if anybody's interested in buying one of these, you can reach out. I might be machining a few more of these and selling them, but I am still in Florida. I'm going to be leaving Florida in a couple weeks. My machine is still back up in Michigan, so these are not going to be available right away. But if you are interested, just like I said, reach out and ask, and I can get that done for you as soon as I get back up to Michigan. This kit is very, very detailed. You know, I put this off for a long time. I actually had this kit in my collection for probably about 8 months, and I just kept putting it off because I knew that it was very detail oriented. And yeah, I had a lot of other commissions at the time, so I could not get to it and put as much thought and detail into it as I wanted at the time. But now, like I said, now that I had somebody reach out and want me to do one as a commission, I decided to just go all in and do both of these at the same time. So every little bit of this saber is weathered. The D-ring has a bunch of crud and what appears to be the plating flaking off that you can see in the reference photos. So I replicated that the best I could, kind of made the D-ring look a little rough. Like I said earlier, the brass plate on the bottom, and I followed the reference photos again the best I could to get all of the damage. It looks like when they were drilling the holes in the bottom through the brass plate, that the drill bit actually looks like it caught the cobalt D-ring and started spinning around, which made a bunch of gouges in the brass plate. So I replicated that the best I could. I don't know how well you can see the little spiral marks here in that brass plate, but this thing is just all beat to hell. Like I said, every aspect of this saber has weathering applied to it. So I took my time, I went through it, I was very diligent. I followed the reference photos, again, the best that I could, the best of my ability. Every little paint chip, that you see on the shroud here is something that I directly copied from the reference photos. So just everything is just beat up. You can see, you know, the damage on the outside. I've added a little bit of rust in each one of these holes. And again, we can see that in the reference photos that there is rust down in there. I added some rust here along the very edge of the lip, and we can see that in the reference photos as well. The control box is cockeyed, it's tilted on an angle, and you can see part of the underlying flash is sticking through, peeking through right there. So this is probably the most detailed saber that I think I have built to date, both of these. This is more detail oriented than the MK1, the Chronicles MK1 that I built just a couple of months ago. But this was really fun. Like I said, I'd never built one of these before, so I had a lot of fun doing it. I always have fun researching and building these props, especially props that I've never done before, but it takes a lot of time to do these. So if you're going to be doing this yourself, just keep that in mind, that, you know, you're going to have to sit and think about a lot before you tackle one of these. The hardest part, like I said earlier, the hardest part is just drilling the holes in the Graflex flash tube and lining them up with these holes if you're using the Wanawanga kit. But other than that, everything is just basically time. But I want to thank George for the commission. This is the DV6 for George. Like I said, from all outside appearances, they are basically the same. But I do want to thank George for this commission. This one will be available on my website as soon as this video is posted. So if you're interested in the solid aluminum DV6, you can go check that out on my website, rpkcustoms.com. Thanks for watching, guys. May the Force be with you.